I decided to do a daisy square tutorial since I keep seeing them everywhere. So you're going to start with a magic circle. I have a link to a video on how to do that on my profile. You're going to chain 3 to count as your first double crochet. I like to keep the string on my fingers, that way it doesn't get all twisted up, as I've seen a lot of people saying when they do magic circles. Then you're going to do 10 more double crochets into that ring. A total of 12 double crochets in the entire ring. Then you're going to pull the ring closed and slip stitch into the third chain of that chain 3 that you started with in the beginning. I like to chain 1 to make sure I can pull the string tight and make a knot, that way it won't come out later. Then what I like to do is weave in my ends so that if I'm building a blanket or a purse or something like that, I don't have to go back later and sew in all those ends. Make sure that your tail of your magic ring is pointing down for this entire process. Then you're going to take in your next color, whatever color you want your petals to be. In this case, I'm using white for daisy petals. You're going to chain 3 just like you did, and that's going to be your first double crochet, only this time you're going to be making popcorn stitches. So you're going to do 3 double crochets into 1 stitch between the double crochets you just did. Pull out a loop, go into the first chain you created, hook over, and then you're going to pull that through that chain. Then what you're going to do is chain 2. And this will be the process all the way around for all the popcorn stitches to fit in between each chain. Then once you get to the end, you're going to chain 2 and slip stitch into the top of that first popcorn stitch. Make sure you have 12 petals in total. Also make sure that each of your popcorn stitches are actually in between the stitches and not in the stitches on top of the double crochet. You want to be in between each post of the stitch. Then weave in your ends just like I did before. And this is when you're going to start with whatever color you want your block to be on the outside. In this case, I'm using sky blue. This is just to actually create the square in which your daisy is going to be housed. You're going to chain 3 as your first double crochet, just like each and every other round. Make sure you keep your extra tails tucked in, that way you don't have to sew them in later. And you're going to do just a regular granny stitch, which is 3 double crochets all in the same area, in that chain 2 space that you used. You're going to continue this granny stitch all the way around, and in the corners you're going to do a treble stitch or a triple crochet as shown here. You're going to do 3 of those on one side. And then you'll create a chain 2 chain space between your next 3 triple crochets. These chain spaces are available to create a layering, and so you can make your square as big as you want. The pattern for this in between each of the 12 petals should be 2 granny stitches and then a corner with your treble crochets. When you get to the end, make sure you slip stitch into that first chain, or third chain I should say, and your first chain 3. Then you're going to chain 3 more for your next layer. And you're going to continue with your pattern of granny stitches. In this case, you'll have 3 granny stitches because of the spaces. And then you will do your treble crochet in the corners like normal. Do that all the way around. Slip stitch in to finish, and this is a finished square I've already completed. You can continue to do more layers if you want your square to be bigger. In this case, my square is 5.5 inches by 5.5 inches. I decided to block these squares, and this one's already finished, so I'm going to take it off so I can show you the finished product. As you can see, there's a right and a wrong side. That is why I made sure that my tail was pointing towards the floor. These squares preferably need to be blocked to stretch them out a little bit, making a blanket so it's actually essential that they're all the same size. I also sometimes add some in the middle to keep them from bowing, as you see here. But here's my finished product. I hope you like it.